One of the things I learned when I came to this church was the church would say, and I think the church believes, the congregation believes, that they are a welcoming congregation, that they are friendly. I think that's true. I think it's absolutely true once you come inside the building. If that makes sense. That's true of a lot of churches where their perspective is they're really nice because they enjoy being here and they pour the bad church coffee and they have their time. But then you don't realize that you may be a closed system. Maybe it's hard to come inside. Is there a cultural moat around the church, and what are your bridges that cross over that gap that might help people feel welcome on the inside?
It's a slow process, and sometimes you will get discouraged because that one person who enters the building this morning might never come back. Weeks after that, and nobody else from a different culture comes, then he or she or the leadership team might lose all the things they learned because you go back to that homogeneous congregation again where we all love the same thing, we all dress the same thing, our food almost smells the same thing. And to the leaders, I would encourage them to be patient with the process because it's not an easy process. We have it naturally here, but it still requires work.
God created us differently, very diverse, because God wants to see whether you will love that person from the other aisle. As a mentor, we have to really go extra mile with those people. You cannot just say, okay, let me stay in my comfort zone, let them come to me. No, you go to them. Take the leadership to them. Even if they reject you, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow they will welcome you again. So it is very challenging, and be humble and vulnerable. You cannot be a leader that is not vulnerable.
I think that the future of the church is becoming culturally competent and inviting the beauty, the knowledge, and the just significant ways of worship.
That's right.
Churches that are not interested or willing to do that, it makes me very sad. And I just don't believe that it's going to be the future of ministry as America diversifies, as people look different, with different backgrounds and cultural understandings. I think that the church is going to have to step out of our comfort zone and be a place of welcome.
It's really easy on Sunday morning, I think, to be friendly to new people as they come in. If anything, we're too friendly and we scare them away because we're like, oh, look, there's a new human. Let's talk to them. And they want to be anonymous. They want to come in and they want to see the space. They want to figure out what they're doing.
Part of being culturally competent is being aware of other cultures. Somebody enters the building, I don't assume because you are a tall white male that you are American right away, or just because you are a Black person, you are an African American from the United States. Avoid assumption. Give that person a chance to tell you who they are. The thing about hospitality, and that's what we're talking about, is that when somebody enters your place, you are the host. But at some point, you just allow that person to be the host, because they become a part of your family. So once you welcome them and they become a part of the family, they feel at home. When these people from other cultures, from other countries are a part of the congregation, you want to include them. Inclusion matters. Inclusion matters. It's very, very important that they feel a part of the congregation. And sometimes we read the scripture in different language. We ask somebody who speaks Spanish to read the scripture for us, or whoever we have from a different culture can come and share the word with us, and read the word in that language, and that makes them feel like they are a part of this congregation and they are being included in everything that we are doing in the worship service. That's an example of how we can connect with these people entering our doors.
A simple fix for just being welcoming was when I came to the church, this building has 4 bathrooms. Okay. And they were all gendered bathrooms. We have 2 that are single bathrooms. Now, this may be a weird thing. All we did was, this was recent actually, that we realized that there was always a line for the ladies' room, and there was never a line for the one that was labeled men. And all we did was make them all gender restrooms, any gender restroom, by changing the signs. The bathrooms didn't change, the sign did. And simply by doing that, one is we relieved the one bathroom and made the other one accessible. And 2 was, it's simply, oh, wait a minute, that means that anybody can be in this space and maybe feel welcome by something as simple as that. Whatever that means, just the things you can do to be, whether it's intentional or not, to create space for others. That's the beginning point. But in terms of like, once you're here, there's maybe a different experience when you're in relationship, in connection with people, and you start to have maybe trust built over time.
And you get to learn more, and you are becoming aware of your own unconscious biases and, the stereotype and things that we always already have in our mind about a certain culture. And once you become more aware of those things and you start to address them as a leader, because it's important to start with oneself. You start with yourself, and then from yourself to your team, and then to your church.
Can we do a timeout? I got to grab something for that, actually. I think, okay. So I brought with me a visual aid. It's one rendition. It's a quilted version of our church logo. It kind of, to me, it looks like little humans kind of radiating outward, and there's a mosaic of diversity in that. But in mosaic art, the tile work like that, it's really a bunch of individuals, right, that make up a whole picture. And the picture itself is not in any one of the pieces, but it's only when it comes together. And so I can use that image of many different people who keep their individual beauty, their individual aspect, but only together do we make something that's greater than ourselves, right? The question is that whether it's the church's responsibility or role to help people be culturally competent. Yes, in that just simply goes back to our very, very basic, unchanging tenet and value of love God, love one another, love neighbor. What happens when the person on that side of the sanctuary doesn't get along with this person, right? Can we still love our neighbor? Can we come together at that common table, the common union of our worship together? This can be our teaching lab of how to love our neighbor. As simple as the unintentional ways that we intersect our lives, starting with a cup of coffee or a Bible study and moving out into the everyday life that we each live, maybe separate from one another. And then when we come back together, we are renewed again. We refocus and we recharge and we worship together, and then we are sent back out to serve.